everywhere. You have to sit down and ask.
Hello, welcome. My name is Obendako. Welcome. Subscribe to this channel, share the channel with your friends, with your family. Today we want to talk about life models of life. If you want constructive understanding of anything, there are things that the custodians of knowledge will have to teach you. In any field, those who go into medical science, before you qualify as a medical officer or as a doctor, there will be things that they would have to teach you, and you would have to understand them, write exam and pass before you qualify. Before you train as an engineer, there are models. So if you're a mechanical engineer, there are things that they would have to teach you. They'll teach you thermodynamics, machine design, all those. If you're a process engineer, there are things that they will teach you: machine vision, computer vision, manufacturing technology, those things. If you want to learn how to make kenke, for instance, those who understand how to make kenke will teach you. You have to have the maize, you have to put it in water for 3 days, then you have to take it to the nikalika or the milling machine, then you come back, you put water in it. Every field, there are things that systematically have to be taught. And once they give you that or those kind of knowledge, then you'll be able to do it, continually and grow in it. The same with life. Sometimes if I listen to people, I know that there are major things, there are major models in life that they have not been taught. People will go to school to study any other thing, to become any other thing in profession. But living life, I believe that people would have to be taught properly for them to understand life. And I looking back at my life, there are things that I think I've been able to study. And knowing those things, I will call those things models. And any other human being would have to learn them. Or maybe you can add or subtract from some of the things that I think everyone must know about life. And the first one, I would say, if you're an African, particularly, you might, because the narratives told on us. If you sit back, if you watch a lot of interviews, when people interview Africans, those from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Benin, we seem to think in a particular way. We seem to think that, everywhere else around the world is good except Africa. It's because there is a model that we have been taught, which is a wrong model, about our history, about our heritage, about our identity, about our heritage, and being proud of those. Because most of us have no idea, because we see the world from the worldview of the Europeans. So the first model I would say is proper African history, that will make you to think properly as an African. There are so many Africans who are in this equilibrium. If they are not centered, they are not conscious. So if you engage them for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you see that almost 90% of the time, all the words that will come out of their mouth will put the African down. It's all because of what they've been taught about Africa, about themselves. And for me, if that is wrong, all other things will be wrong. Because then you look down upon yourself as an African. I'm not saying that the other people have been taught well, no. Because even if you go through school, I went to school in Ghana, I went to school somewhere. You see, the things that they teach them in school are not things that you can really use to live a fulfilled, designed life. Where you have control over your finances, over your aspirations, over your time. No. So they also teach their people the same errors, but at least they've been able to tell their people that they're human beings, at least. But us, what we teach our people is as if you are not human beings. So if you have not taken this model, you would have to take this model as an African. Go and study Africa, not just in the 1960s that Ghana, in 1957 that Ghana had independence. It's not the world, the Georgesburg. I'm talking about something beyond 500 years before I encounter with Europeans, something even before Christ, 10,000 years before Christ, 50,000 years. Study the world history, not as told by Europeans where they have glorified themselves alone. Study the world history, especially the African history. Break them into 2000s, every 2000 for the last 10 years. Study. There are materials. That's the good thing about the internet. There are a lot of materials that you can compare and contrast. And those ones will start to help you to understand yourself as an African. If you don't study this model, you can be a professor in anything. You can be a professor in pharmacology. You can be a professor in philosophy. As an African, you still have a lot of self-doubt, and you spew out a lot of negativity and mistrust, and you denigrate us as Africans because that model has been skewed against us. So our people are mistrustful of ourselves. They're negative against themselves. They use words like corruption. Our Africans cannot be trusted. Somebody will even say that the Africans, the Ghanaians are born something. It's all because the model, the thing about being taught constructively is that then you can analyze and dissect issues. So I would say that study that as an African. Without that, all other things are not relevant, because that's the point that I started to accept myself, study, and cherish my history. Why would you think that when the Europeans, in their wickedness, when they took human beings from here, they would change your name, stop you from speaking your language, separate you from your heritage, vilify your culture, and even your religion, all those. So anything that they told us not to do, go and study them. You will start to accept yourself and cherish yourself. So history, they are great teachers. They are great teachers that if you just go to YouTube and Google, you'll be amazed. And study about these things, because without you having them understood, you'll be funny when you meet any people who have studied these things. The Chinese have learned to be Chinese. All the other races have learned. The African is trying to be everybody else but themselves. And that was a deliberate attempt. And so if you don't study that, forget about the other ones. The other one that you have to study will be life purpose. You must know why you were born. That's another model that you must know. Why? What is your gift? What talent do you have? What is it that you want to live on this earth? What is it that when people get you, they will get? Or when people meet you, they will say that this one, I learned from this man. He does this perfectly. What is it that has consumed you? What is it that you're so much obsessed with? What is it that you can change? What product can you bring into? Is it maybe a side product? Is it business? Maybe you're a perfect teacher. Is it a good public servant? Or maybe a politician? Maybe a religious leader? What is it that you think that you've been gifted to do, that you're so much passionate about? That one study. That one study. And you must study that. Study yourself and study your purpose. That's one model that you must have. The other thing is finance. The world is, you are either a bond servant or a free man. But I can say that more than 90% of the world have been enslaved by the world's financial system. And so if you don't understand money, and that's why one of the things that they don't really teach in most of our schools will be how to create money and how to multiply it so that you'll be free from the controls of money to a very large extent. Most people have no proper understanding of money, so they just think that once they go to school and they come out as doctor, lawyer, engineer, teacher, police officer, they will have money, but they forget that they pay them salary. And if you don't have higher knowledge, then you can never be free from the controls of money, especially when if the check does not come and you not eat, if you don't get income, salary, and you can't pay the school fees, then it means that the system is running you, and it's running you big time. And so study. You can only change your finances based on the financial information that you have. And if there is anything that they are using to control the rest of the world, it's money. And so if you study money properly, you will know how wealth is created. And if you understand how wealth is created, then you can be wealthy wherever you are, because it's not so much. I can see a lot of Africans, especially the youth, trying to move out of Ghana, out of Nigeria. They want to cross the sea, they want to cross the desert, they want to get into Brazil, they want to go anywhere apart from Africa. And what they say is that there are no jobs, because there's a way you think. You think that somebody else must give you a job. You think that for you to get money, you must go to Israel, you must go to Qatar, you must go to Kuwait. You think that for you to get money, you must go to America. Those are deceptions. What you know about money is what will separate you, because there's something called freedom, and you have no freedom over your time, then you have no freedom at all. So most people would have to just work to get salary. If they want to buy a car, they want to build a house, but they have to trade man hours to get those. It means that the understanding of how wealth is created is weak. As a matter of fact, if you start life, you must understand that for you to have control over your life, you must understand how money is created and how wealth is created and conserved. So much of it will depend on your financial information. The other thing that you would have to learn, you would have to know, is how a business is built. How a business is built. Most of us have been taught into getting jobs, but very few would want to take the challenge to learn how a business is built. Much of the world's wealth is created out of business, solving economic problems. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, if you don't want to be a business person, at least study how a business is built, how a business is structured, what are the components, what are the things that you must know. Because anyway, anyhow, you would work in some kind of a business setting. So you understanding that. Most people would want to go to school to say that I want to become this, I want to become an engineer, I want to become a doctor. No. You don't have to be, if you want to save people or you want to be in the health sector, you don't have to be in the health sector as just as a doctor per se. You can own a hospital and you may know nothing about, medicine. You can own a school and you may not have gone to Uniba School of College of Education. You may own a football team and you may never have played any football anywhere. Once you understand how a business is structured, you can own a construction company and you may never be a civil engineer. You may own a farm and you never have been to any agric college. So how a business is run, that's how people who understand these things then can run business in a lot of places. And in this life, those who make significant progress may not necessarily be those who have been taught in the classroom about any particular topic. A lot of the times is the information that they pick from doing. What separates men is what they do, the works of their hands. What you do, the fruit that you bear, that is what defines you. It's not so much what is in your head or what you studied or what you have certificate in. Much of it is the results that you're going to produce. So study about business, study about how people become entrepreneurs, because in any fair economy, those who have a lot of wealth are those who took financial or economic risk. So don't let somebody tell you that it's so difficult. Sometimes I failed. You can fail 1,000 times, but you're still alive. You're still alive, and once you're still alive, if that is your vision, go for it. Go for it. The other thing that you must understand is thinking. A human being is not separate from his thoughts. What you think of the world is who you are. You are reflecting. Whatever you see in this video is how I process the information that come to me. So how you think is so powerful. The power of the mind that God has given you. So being taught constructively how to think and think well to solve problems. System thinking, design thinking, critical thinking, analyzing data and making good judgment out of it is good. When people have not been taught this, they talk anyhow. They just make any hanging statement. So you would have to come to a stage in your life that you study how to think, how to structure. So study thinking, critical thinking. Read, go to YouTube, go and get books and learn how to think. It's so critical. Because if you don't do that, then you just go through life. Say that this is everybody and their destiny, and this is my opinion. We are not looking for your opinion. We are looking at things that are based on facts. We look at the data and then we analyze the data and make judgment out of it. And if you know how to think, then you will question almost everything. You will question everything. If anybody says something, you say that you are saying it, but what are the facts saying? So you stand with what is true, not just so much of who is saying what. The Africans would have to be taught how to think. It almost seems like our ability to think for ourselves have been strategically disabled, because if you're thinking, then you solve problems. Then you don't become desperate in any situation because you're thinking. And that's the most important gift that the Creator gave us, how to think for ourselves. And if you're thinking, then you'll be able to solve problems. And there is something they call systems thinking. I'm a systems engineer. So study that. When you look at any process, anything that you want to solve, you break them down. You go to the first principles and look at how you can solve that. And so that you will not panic under any circumstance. The other thing, you would have to study constructively. Learn. I'm talking about models. Religion has its practice in Africa is so different from how it is practiced anywhere in the world. In Africa, Sundays, particularly in Ghana, there's church almost everywhere. And anybody at all can get up and say that God has called them to teach us. and he himself has not been trained on anything. And he tells you that God called him, and when God was calling him, none of us was there. So it's the best way for most people to start to gather profile for themselves and become important in society. And any country that you go, that you see politicians and religious people being friends, there will be a lot of problems in that country, because these two people are trying to control the people, and they try to control the mind of the people. And religion, if the leaders are not good people, compassionate, kind, truthful people, they will use that too to control the masses for their selfish gain. And you can see that in most part of our continent. And it's a sad situation. It's an epidemic where people just teach people anything because they use fear. It's part of it is the introduction. The people who came to introduce this kind of religion to us, especially the Christian or the Islamic religion, they use fear. Fear of you, when you die, you don't go to heaven. Fear of, fear of death, fear of poverty, fear of all kind of things. Fear, especially fear after life. They use that. So even if they are destroying you, they still want you to forgive them. And I think that thing has stayed with us all these years. So a lot of our people, their minds cease to work when it comes to religion. But there's no religion that is greater than love for one another. There's no religion that is greater than that. And so people are using that, and it's squarely, a lot of the things that they're doing is squarely opposite. Love and kindness and compassion, especially for those who don't have and for the marginalized. And yet, if you look around, the people that we are taking huge advantage of are the marginalized, the poor, those who don't have. And the people who take advantage of them, the religious guys and the politicians, so they collect all the money and buy cars for themselves and build houses for themselves. And you can see the same thing in the religious sector as well. So you have to study this, and you have to question everything that they have taught you. My mother started to send me to church, Catholic, because that is what she knew. And they took us there, and we being Christians. Oh, and they tell you not to question anything, not to challenge whatever they teach you. And when you go there, when you can, it's so much obvious that this one is not true. They still want to tell you, don't question it. I went to Catholic school, Pokwari school is the same. They would carry us to go and pray every morning. Pray every morning and pray with the rosary and all those things. Religion can be good if it teaches morals and compassion and kindness. But it can also be dangerous when it's being used in the hands of those who are very highly selfish and manipulative, for their and they want to control people, and they want to become, prominent in society. High-profile people are using religion to control people, and most people have become successful in our country. Most people have become successful just because they own the religious institutions, and yet we have so many problems that we are not solving. So how can we have so many people who are successful in all these areas, and yet we're still complaining that so many things are not right? Because nobody becomes successful just by putting people together and praying for them and collecting their money. It's you equipping the people to take their lives in their own, to take their own lives in their own hands, and becoming confident and courageous, using what God taught them or God gave them. Then you have done a good job with religion. But institutionalized religion, it's lethal and it's dangerous, and you can see that. And the Europeans, the colonizers, they use it. The enslavers, they use it. Look at African Americans, look at Jamaicans, go anywhere. Those tools they use to destroy our people. And the remnants, you can see, it's everywhere, and it's a major thing. It's delicate, but you cannot be free until you constructively understand faith, understand religion. The next one you have to learn as a person is the concept of truth. Study that. They should have taught you what is truth, what is not truth. Truth is predictable everywhere. It works everywhere. It's just like the law of gravity. It has no favorite. And the one with the truth is not somebody that you can destroy. The one who stands for the truth or with the truth. And it's a concept. And you cannot be free until you know the truth. So it doesn't matter how long a lie has been perpetrated. The truth will always come out. The truth will always come out. So study truth as a concept. Study truth as a concept. 1 + 1 is 2. It doesn't matter where. You can go anywhere in the world. It's that like that. If your truth changes all the time, then you have been deceived. And a lot of people have no concept of truth. A lot of people have no concept of the truth. In the Bible, it says that you can do nothing but for the truth. And so wherever, in all your dealings, look for what is the truth. Look for that. Is this the truth, or I'm being deceived? Look for that, because that concept will protect you, and it will make you a good person. The other one that you want to understand or you want to study is love, compassion, kindness, gentleness with humans. Being kind as a person is a model. Steady love. Somebody's behavior should not change your love for them. It can change how you approach them and how you handle them, but you have no right to withhold love even from the most dangerous person, because that is who you are, and nothing will stand but love. So the heart which is full of love can never be destroyed. That's why you don't have to worry about who is trying to do something against you. Make sure that your heart is full of love, because that is what protects you. Infinite compassion for one another, treating people as God would treat them. That is love. And they say God is love. So you cannot maltreat your children, you cannot treat your wife or your husband, you cannot maltreat somebody just because they're different. So let's say you meet a Chinese person, it's always a Chinese that you want to insult them. Or you meet another person from another tribe, you say, no. It means that you have not studied love to a higher depth. So long as they look like you, they're a human being like you, and if you cut them, there's blood, then you cannot deny them of love. You cannot deny them of love. The other thing you need is ethics, integrity. You need that to stand always with ethics. Be ethical in your dealings. Integrity, character, strong character, develop that. Life is very complex for a lot of people because these models, they didn't study them. And it takes time for you to understand all these things. It takes time. But be a man of your word. If you say it's green, then they can go anywhere. You say that I stand by what I said. It really does not matter. This is what I said. And if he has to change, then we have to come into agreement before it changes. So you have to say that this is it. This is me. This is what I stand for. And it comes out of courage. If you're not a man of courage, then when there's pressure, you change your position. I remember a friend of mine, when there's pressure, he said that I was not the one who told them to write a letter to you. That's a man who lacks integrity. He lacks integrity. So he will change his position when there's going to be trouble or for personal gain. And a lot of people like that. And you can preserve your life by being dishonest. It may seem like you are, but it will culminate into your destruction, into your annihilation. So the other thing is steady family, steady relationship, steady people, steady how to marry, steady how to keep friends, steady how to build a team. Your greatest strength is in your ability to build a strong relationship, a strong team. If you don't study that, and if you're working with people, there'll be all kind of things that will come up. Your ability to put a team together and to relate with people is your best bet to success in this life. You can't be everything, and you don't know everything. There's always something that somebody else knows. That's why you pick a book. That book was not written by you. That's why you watch somebody's video, because you acknowledge that somebody knows something that you don't know. If the world had only you, where would the world be? So there are things that you enjoy today because some people sacrifice to produce those things. So you have to be a person that learns, or that has learned relationship, family, friendship, things like that, team. The next one is study wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They grow or they move in circle, and you reflect the level of your wisdom. The light that you are experiencing in this life is the level of knowledge that you have. Your understanding of life is what is you wherever you go, it expresses. So knowledge is what you need. Anytime you want to go to the next level, you need another knowledge. Wisdom is that will push you to start anything that you start. You see that it was out of wisdom. But understanding is what you need to establish it. And understanding a lot of the times has to do with humans, the way you understand practicality, which you understand. So let's say you want to learn how to drive, you go to the classroom, they give you knowledge. Your ability to take the car, move out, it then becomes the wisdom. But if you want to master the skill to the next level, then you need another infusion of knowledge and understanding. Is making sure that you're not going to kill somebody on the road. So my name is Obeng Darko. Today I'm talking about models of life. Models of life. Life is a course. Life is a program. Life is an institution. Life is construction. Whatever you understand, the models you understand in life will determine how you enjoy life and your performance in life, and what becomes your values, what becomes your beliefs. Your understanding of life will prove the success that you have, whether you're desperate or you are fulfilled as an individual. The next thing that you need to know is productivity, skill, growth, planning, goals, vision. Those things you must learn them. If you know these things, because without some of these things that I've talked about, you can go and become anything. You flop. You can even become the president of our country and still fail because you don't get the models right. You don't get the models right. So anytime that I meet somebody, I know. I try to see where is your stance, or where do you stand in the models of life. So study life. Take your time. Accounting is not going to make you successful, I'll tell you. If you don't know, go and look for a lot of accountants. Be a lawyer is not going to be successful. Not just what the school gave you. Be an engineer, no, or medical officer, or even get in a profession. There is more to life that you have to learn. And especially Africans. Especially if you want to live in Africa and become successful. Some of these things you must know them. And as a matter of fact, you should have been taught. By the time that you said, "Ngeh," they should have been teaching you. Of course, they've been teaching you in bits and pieces. But the onus is on you, the onus is on me to put them constructively, to put them sector. It's like you going to the university and say that when you read this, you will come out with a certificate. That is it. So these are some of the models that you must pass, for you to come with certificate of life, and most of it is this. Most of it is this. And so my name is Obeng Darko. I want to say thank you very much for taking your time to watch this models of life. So we talk about history. The essence of history is everything. Being able to study history more than what the Europeans have taught. Only colonize cultures and tribes. They also colonize the information of the world. So you being able to decipher them, being able to decipher some of this will help you to understand life properly. Because a lot of Africans are very frustrated, I'll tell you. When I watch, especially those who live abroad, they are always talking down on their own people. And they raise everybody by themselves. And if they have to use negative words, they use it on themselves. And if they have to praise people, they will praise everybody but themselves, because of the worldview, because of the content that they have about themselves. Somebody will ask you, your great grandparents were worshiping idols. He is worshiping Christ. Somebody told you that. The others are still go to the Wailing Wall. That's not idol worship, no. But when we go, so you study. You can be a Christian, no problem, but don't talk down on yourself and don't talk down on your people. That was a design. So you must learn this module. Finance or wealth creation. You should also learn entrepreneurship, business, wealth systems thinking. You must learn religion. It's a model. Truth, as a principle of life. Love, compassion, kindness, ethics, integrity, honesty, relationships, families, marriage, those things, friends, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Take time to learn this. Productivity, skills, planning, goals, vision. Learn this. Take a risk, build in your life. So I want to say thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. Thank you.